Welcome back to PodX. Our guest for today is Parth Jindal. I'm really excited to have him. Parth Jindal is someone who I've always looked up to, and I actually came across his profile a few months back, and today we're finally doing it. So I'll tell you about what I came across. So Parth, I actually came across an article about you, which said that you had an option of joining when you came into the family business. You had the option of joining JSW Steel, which was already the established business, but you decided to join JSW Cement and become the MD of it and make it a profit making company. Because at that time, it was a loss making company. And that was really amazing for me because you chose the harder path over the easier path to make a impact and do something better for the company and the growth of it. So thank you so much for being here, first of all.
No, thank you, Ayush. Thanks a lot for those kind words. But yeah, no, actually, what you're saying is quite accurate. I did when I was finishing up my MBA at Harvard, I had a lot of options as to what I wanted to do. And actually, my first stint at JSW Cement was my undergraduate, between graduating from Brown and going to Harvard. I had about 2 years of work experience between completing Brown and starting Harvard. And for 1 year, I worked at two separate places. I worked for 6 months at a hedge fund in New York, and then I worked for 6 months at JFE Steel in Japan, which is Japan's second largest steel producer. So when I came back to India, I had a lot of options. Like you rightly said, one of the options was to join JSW Steel or JSW Energy, both of which are listed entities in the Indian stock market and established. And the others were mostly private companies, which were, some of them were doing well, some of them were not doing well. And the one which really intrigued me a lot was JSW Cement. It was a loss-making company at the time, and I thought it would be a big challenge to turn around a company. And I also thought it would give me a tremendous amount of confidence in myself, and it would give me a tremendous amount of credibility within the group, because when the group is started by your father, you always will be seen as your father's son, and you'll always be seen with that lens, and people will always respect you, not for your achievements. They will respect you for the fact that you are your father's son, and sometimes that respect is not genuine. So I felt there was very little to lose as well, because the company was already a loss-making business, and what worse, how much worse could I make it? So it was a exciting opportunity, and as a 23-year-old at the time, it was a tremendous opportunity. It was something which I'm really grateful to God for, and grateful to my family for, that at such a young age, I got such an incredible opportunity to take over a company, and try and use all the things that I've learned, all the things that I've seen my father and my grandfather and my uncles exhibit in a business. And it took us about 18 months to turn it around. It took us about 9 months to make it EBITDA neutral, and then we turned around the business. I went away for my MBA, but I had already changed the entire management team while I was in India. So the new management team kept me abreast of all the developments even while I was in Boston, and I was in touch with them. If I ever came across an interesting case study, I would send it to them, and we would discuss how to further improve the business. And then I officially came back in 2016, and I took over as the managing director of the company. And yeah, it's been an incredible ride ever since.
But I wanted to ask you a personal question. I'm diving in straight away. I'm sorry for that. But have you, like, while growing up, did you face any problems because you were your father's son because of the name? Was it like you looked at it differently at school, or did you face any challenges because of that? Because no matter, I've read a lot about this, I haven't experienced this, but a lot of people say that no matter what they achieve, it always comes under because they were entitled to it. So have you faced that?
I think for me, in school or in college, I never felt that as much. For me, sports has been a huge learning platform, and sports has been a huge leveler for me. And I've always judged myself based on, you know, academics and sports are two things that you really can't, no matter how entitled you are, no matter how privileged you are. uh, these are two things which are genuine levelers. And you can't really fake a score, a test score, and you can't really fake a performance, whether on the field as well. So I think I always judged myself through these two lenses. One is obviously academic lens, and the other is through the sporting lens. And I felt that it really kept me grounded, and it kept me from ever thinking about my family or my heritage, etc. But yes, sometimes when I got into a college, when I got into Brown, I was kind of punching above my weight. I wasn't great academically, but I still got into Brown. So that did raise a question in my mind: that did I get in because of me, or did I get in because of my family and my family's name? But it's you make the most of your opportunities. And I've got some breaks definitely because of my family. And that's why I consider myself fortunate. But it's using those breaks and making the most out of the opportunities that life presents you, which is the most important.
But I think what I think about you is when I spoke to you from the first time, from all that I read about you and all, I find you to be very much humble and grounding. Because even the first time I called you up, you instantly answered, and I think you were busy at that time, and you still spoke to me for 2 or 3 minutes, and then you asked me to drop a mail. I called you up the second time, and second time I think you were in your match, and yet you were busy during the match of your team, and you still answered properly. Because I've seen this with a lot of people. At times they will just I don't know. I get different. I've called up different people, and all the behavior is different. And I found you to be very humbling and grounding, even in the way you talk. So that was one thing which is really amazing about you.
No, no, no. Thank you. I see. I've been in the 12th standard myself. I think what you're doing is fantastic. I think the fact that you're taking such initiative and you're calling up people, and you're showing absolutely no fear. You're showing no nerves when you talk to people who you've read about, or who you've, like you said, scrolled pages and pages to get a telephone number. That kind of grit and determination is really, really rare to see in 12 standard kids. I know I wasn't so brave when I was in the 12 standard. So I think it's great. And I feel like I said, it's, if I can, through your podcast, influence anybody to become a better person, then it's worth doing these things. And it's a fantastic initiative that you're taking.
Thank you so much. So I had another question, which is about your leadership skills, which I've heard a lot about. So even when I was speaking to your team, it was really, you can come to know when you speak to someone, you can come to know if they're really happy and excited where they work, or if they're not. And when I spoke to your team, I could sense that feel of excitement, that happiness. That they have the joy of coming back. Your teammate also told me that you're very straightforward in person and all that stuff. So if you have a problem, you will say it to their face, and then the next thing you know, you'd forgotten about it, and you're again laughing and happy and enjoying with them and working with them collectively in a positive manner. So where does that leadership quality, like, what is that about?
I think your one is only as strong as their team. And the amount one can achieve, the amount one's business can grow, is truly dependent on the quality of the team that you develop. I genuinely believe that everyone has tremendous potential, and everyone, given the right opportunity, can really grow and become a leader in their own right. So, mistakes are part of the game, mistakes are part of the process, but it's the intent and it's the amount of effort that really counts. And that's what I've always believed in. I'm not perfect in any shape, form, or way. I'm not the most brilliant in any shape, form, or way. And it's not right for me to expect my teammates to be perfect all the time. So mistakes happen, but the leadership is all about leading from the front. It's all about showing the team the way, and it's all about setting the vision. So I think as a leader, you need to set the vision, and you also need to help your team execute that vision. Whether it's through skill development, if someone is fantastic in numbers, but is not good in what do you call it, in speaking, it's not good in making presentations. You need to help them. If someone is very good in making presentations but not good in numbers, then you need to send them for courses which can help them develop. So I think that I view business as anyone would view sport, right? So a captain alone cannot win a match, whether in any sport. So you need everyone to perform. You need everyone to contribute. So yeah, that's my style.
I wanted to add a story to this actually, which is something that I read it when I was 13 or 14. That so have you read Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill?
No.
Okay, so in that book, actually, he mentions a story about John D. Rockefeller, where what happened was there was an employee in John D. Rockefeller's office, and he had been working there for years. But what happens is he messed up once, and it caused the company a loss of about $3 or $4 million. And everyone around that, everyone in the office thought that the employee was going to get fired and all that stuff. But what happened was John D. Rockefeller called him to his office. The employee was really scared that he had done such a huge loss and all that stuff. But instead, what John D. Rockefeller did was he told him that he gave him a promotion instead. So the employee asked him, why did you do that and all? So John D. Rockefeller said, you've been in this company for years and years, and I've seen your record, and you've always done good for the company. Your intent has always been good. And even this time, your intent was good, but it made a loss in the company. So I'm going to give you a promotion instead. So yeah, and that's how the employees felt motivated while working under him. And that is a similar quality which I see in you right now.
No, I don't know. I don't know if an employee would be working for me if he made a loss of $3 to $4 billion. But no. But thank you.
Yeah. So no, actually, it was a loss of $3 or $4 million.
Oh, million
So
dollars.
yeah,
Okay.
but in that time, it's still a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I think that was one of the stories which I still use as an inspiration, even in terms of the friendships which I have and the relationships which we build around everyone. As long as your intent is good, I think I stay more focused on that if to continue the friendship or not. If someone has a bad intent, it would be a negative impact on me. So you can come to know if that's a good friendship or not. But if someone's intent is good and they mess up, then you still keep them as your friends. So yeah, that's what I learned from that story.
Yeah. No, that's true. Very, very true.
So have you, when you were turning around JSW Cement, what were some of your challenges that you faced?
I think the biggest challenge was the mindset of the organization and the culture in the organization. I think these were two very big things that needed to be changed. A lot of the leaders at the time in the organization were cement industry veterans who were very, very convinced that the cement industry works in a particular way and only a particular way is the correct way of doing business. I actually felt that as a new player in the space, as a new entrant, we needed to challenge the status quo and we needed to challenge the way in which cement business is done in India. And that's the only way we were going to get this business out from loss and get it into profitability. So, there was a lot of leadership changes that I had to make. I brought in people from different industries not just the cement industry. I brought some people in from the FMCG industries. I brought in people from steel industry. I brought in a lot of youngsters into the organization to bring in more energy, more ideas, more creativity. Change the mindset of the team and make it more collaborative, because a lot of organizations in India are very top down, are very driven by the top. I wanted all the people to collaborate and contribute to the ideas and to the strategy of the organization. And then eventually, obviously, I took the decisions along with the senior members of my team. But at least everyone felt heard, everyone felt that they contributed to the ideology and to the thought process of the business. Actually, one of the most interesting changes was, the cement company, because the main factory was in just outside of Hyderabad. The headquarters was in Hyderabad. So one of the big changes I made was to move everyone to Mumbai. And that brought in a lot of changes, because in Mumbai at JSW Center we all sit in one big office building, where there's JSW Steel, there's JSW Energy, there's JSW Infra. So you feel like you're part of a very large organization. Whereas in Hyderabad, they were in their own fiefdom, they were in their own office. They felt like they were, they were the main people in that building. So here, when they came, they even got to see how the professional companies like JSW Steel, the established companies like JSW Steel and Energy were operating. So we took a lot of learnings from the established players and incorporated it into JSW Cement, and really helped us shorten the learning curve.
You spoke about getting in more youth. I had a question about that. So, I've seen this a lot of people really fearful, but the 90s and 2000s born are kind of different. They want to challenge how things are working. They want to try and experiment in new ways and all that stuff. So, what are your thoughts on the borns generation? Like you're in my generation. I think you're a 90 born,
Yeah.
and I'm born in 2003. So I think there's a huge difference even in the 90s and 80s. Like even in that 10-year gap.
Yeah, I think there's. I would give millennials 100 on 100 in creativity, 100 on 100 in hard work, and 100 on 100 in intent, but very very low marks in terms of loyalty and tenure. Millennials are constantly looking to jump ship. They want to work at a startup, or they want to work at a fancy Amazon or Google or Microsoft or McKinsey, or the shelf life of millennials today in companies like mine is very very low. And I think that's a big challenge, in fact. So in 2 years or 3 years, no matter how smart, intelligent you are, you can't really make much of an impact at an organization. So I always give this advice to people, that if you really are keen on making an impact and you're really keen on growing in an organization, when you before joining, you should commit that if everything goes well in this company, I'm going to stay here for at least 8 to 10 years, because that's the minimum period of time you need before you can actually know whether you are making an impact or not. Sure, if you get a great startup idea and you want to leave, by all means, but don't go in saying that, okay, I'm going to be here 2 years, then I'm going to jump, then I'm going to jump, then I'm going to jump, because employers are looking for longevity a lot more than they're looking for brilliance. Brilliance is not so critical in the kind of businesses we run.
So do you think social media has played an impact on this? Because if you look at a lot of the content that is put out there, initially people used to go out and watch 2 hours, 3 hours movies and used to enjoy them. Then what happened was people started watching shorter, funny videos on YouTube. So that was like 15, 20 minutes and they used to enjoy it. Now what has happened is with the introduction of TikTok and Reels, the attention span has come down to 15 or 30 seconds. So people want that instant gratification that, I watch this video, I feel happy. And so do you think that has had an impact?
Yeah, I think so. I think you can say social media hasn't had an impact. I think the slew of unicorns and great startup stories has had a big impact. That why should I be a lifetime employee for someone? Let me go and start my own business. So yeah, there's a bunch of factors. And like I said, I will never discourage someone from starting their own business, but everyone should know that it's only about 10 out of 100 businesses or 10 out of 100 startups that actually survive. So it's a tough world, but yeah, sure. I mean, if you're up for it, you should try it, but it's not easy for everybody.
So, I wanted to come to the second phase of the podcast, which is, every age a person changes. I think the first change takes place around late teens, early 20s. That's the first change which takes place in one's life. The second change around takes place somewhere when they become a father, when parenthood comes into play. And the third phase is somewhere when they are near retirement. I believe somewhere about 55, 60. That's when the third phase takes place. So, and I think there's a fourth one also. Yeah, there's a fourth one when you reach somewhere about 40, 45. That's when the third phase change takes place. And the fourth one is somewhere at 55, 60 when you retire. So you've been through two changes in your life. That is in your 20s and now your fatherhood. So, like, could you tell us about your early 20s first? Like, what change happened there?
I think you missed a big one. I think you missed the one when you get married. That's a big change as well. But I think when you early 20s, I was in college. I was at Brown, and I was interning over the summer. At My first summer internship was at Deutsche Bank in New York, in investment banking. And then, like I said, after I graduated Brown, I had two stints, one at a hedge fund and one in Japan, and then I moved back to India. So I think, yeah, I think I was very hungry at that time. Still am, but I was extremely hungry at that time to come back to India and to make an impact in India and give and contribute in any which way I could to the country. Had a blank canvas in my mind. I had a big, like I mentioned, big opportunities to do something substantial. And yeah, I was full of dreams. At that time, I wanted to join politics. I wanted to become a politician in India as well at some stage. I had huge aspirations from about the things I wanted to do. I wanted to do a lot for Indian sport, which I have been able to do over the last 10 years or so. But yeah, I mean, it was an incredible time.
I just wanted to interrupt. Is it okay? Could I interrupt?
Yeah, sure.
I'm really sorry. Could I interrupt? I actually had two questions which came up, which was really, really important in my mind. Which is firstly, a lot of people who are born into rich families, what happens is they get into negative stuff. A lot of them, there are a lot of people who get into negative stuff such as drugs and alcohol and all. How did you keep it? Because they can afford it. So how did you keep yourself away from that? Because you were a lot more inclined towards work and making an impact on the world. So how did you keep yourself away from that? What was in your mind like?
I think. See, I mean, everybody in college has had their share of fun and their share of adventure and craziness. So I wouldn't say that have I kept myself away from alcohol? No, I've had. I mean, I still drink, and drinking was a big part of the college experience as well. But yeah, hard drugs was something that never really appealed to me, and was never something I was inclined to, because I think a lot of it again comes down to sport. Because at the time I was playing varsity squash for Brown, and I felt like if I did anything like that, it would ruin my chance to play for Brown. And I also didn't I also felt like there's really no need to do things like that. The reputational risk on myself, on my family was extremely high, and also I saw a lot of my friends doing hard drugs, and I just didn't like what it did to them, and it made them different people, and never really appealed to me. So yeah, the but like I said, like it, it's not that I didn't have my fun in college. It's not that I don't have my fun now, but everything should be done in limitation, and you should be in control of what you're doing, and that's the most important thing.
Yeah, another question which I had said was you spoke about getting into politics, which is, do you see that a lot more younger people will be getting into politics over the next decade, like people under their 40s? Do you see that happening?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. It's a tough one. I've seen the good side and the ugly side of politics, especially after joining business. I've realized that if you're in business, you can't be in politics. You either choose business or politics. You can't do both. And if you want to be in both, then you have to wait till you make enough money to retire from your business and then join politics, because otherwise it raises a lot of questions about conflict of interest, and it raises a lot of question about your intent and your thought process, right? So I've seen it in my grandfather's case. I've seen it in my uncle's case. Doing business and politics, if you win, is great. If you lose, can really hurt and harm your business and your reputation. So I was very attracted towards politics, but after understanding what Indian politics is all about, I felt it wasn't for me. But having said that, do I think politics needs more youngsters? I absolutely. I think India needs more youngsters in politics for sure. I think politicians continue to be one of the biggest challenges for India, and one of the biggest reasons why uh, we don't grow as much as we can, or we're still such an unequal society. I think our politics is quite challenging and is quite problematic, even though we've made considerable strides of late, but there's still a long way to go.
Okay, so really sorry for interrupting. You can like continue with your stages of marriage, fatherhood, and so these are the two stages you've been through. The other stages we can't ask because you've not been through there yet. But if you could tell
I
us
think
about
I
those
think
changes and
I think
impact on you,
marriage.
how it changed you.
Yeah, I think marriage was my first big change. I was dating Anushri, for my wife, for 8 years before we got married. We'd never really lived together, so living together with a permanent roommate was initially a bit different. But it's become the most amazing thing that's happened over the last 5 years of my life. So I think respecting the other person, respecting their dreams, intertwining your dreams with their dreams, having a combined vision for your life. Standing by each other's family issues, each other's personal issues. I think that was the first time when I really learned empathy and sympathy properly. Otherwise it was always okay. You have a friend, he's in trouble, you try and help them out, but or you're in trouble, a friend helps you out. But this is constantly 24 hours a day, every day, for your whole life. You're living with someone, and for me, lucky enough that I got to marry the person I loved the most, and so it was good. It's been great. It's going to be 5 years in May, so it's crazy how time flies. But I think the one which trumps it all is becoming a father and having your own child. I think the feeling is completely indescribable. To have someone depend on you, to have someone who wakes you up in the morning, and who you can come back to from work, and who's waiting for you, and it's just it's an unbelievable feeling to be a dad. And it it makes you realize, and it makes you mature very, very quickly, because now you're not only working for yourself, and you're not only working for your wife, you're working for your child, who's completely dependent on you. And it really made me value work life balance, because I was someone who, before I had a child, was, felt like office was my home, and I to come home just to have dinner and go to sleep, but sometimes not even dinner. But after having the child, I realized the importance of work-life balance, making time for your child, doing the small things like going swimming with Ayana, or taking her for a walk, or feeding her breakfast or lunch or dinner, or changing her diaper. So small things give you a lot of joy. And yeah, but it's an incredible feeling. And it's only after you have a child do you realize why your parents love you so much, because it's unbelievable that a human being can create another human being, and it's they look like you, they talk like you, they walk like you. So it's just a surreal feeling.
I think that's the most beautiful feeling ever. Like even for me, I'm like when I spend time with my dad, what happens is it's one of the most amazing, fun things. Even in the morning, I didn't realize it actually. So what would happen was, till I was 14, I used to do this thing, which is every morning before going to school, I used to go by van. So every morning before going to school, I used to go to my parents' room and I used to just hug them and say goodbye, not realizing that at times my dad might have come late from work, and I would still wake him up in the morning. And it was still this thing that he never shouted at me for saying goodbye to him or hugging him in the morning and all that stuff. But now that I'm mature, I do kind of realize that he needed that sleep, but then I was disturbing him and all that stuff. But like really, these experiences are really amazing. Like the ones which you spoke about, going for morning walks, going for swimming together. In fact, even swimming, my dad taught me swimming. So that was one good thing for me.
Yeah, that's amazing. That's amazing.
But I had a question for you, which is what has happened is that in the time which we are living in, women empowerment isn't really given so much of equality. Women aren't given so much of equality. So do you like, this is a bit personal, but do you fear that for your daughter, what will happen? Have you thought about it or not yet?
I completely agree. I think women in India are not given the same respect and given the same opportunities as men are. And I think a lot more needs to be done in that space. And I think that's something we at the JSW Group are really focusing on. And we're trying to get as many women as we can into the workplace. We've also now, adopted a maternity policy, a pregnancy policy. We have creches in most of our offices, so that we're promoting women who even have young children to come to work with their child and drop their child in the creche if required. So these are things that progressive organizations are doing, and we are trying to adopt those policies, even though our gender ratios are very low. As you can imagine, women don't necessarily get attracted to manufacturing sector as much as the services sector, but it's changing. Things are changing. We also, I think the government is doing a lot. I think the government is now made it mandatory for all boards to have women on it, and they're trying to increase the representation of women on the boards of companies, both private and public, which is fantastic step, and it's encouraging more women to take on larger responsibilities and roles. So I think overall things are improving, but yeah, India can do a lot more. But the mentality is changing. Even we do a lot of work for sports. A lot of parents who were earlier hesitant to send their girls for camps to different parts of the country or to different countries are now much more open to it. In fact, India is doing far better in through women than they are doing through men in Olympic sports. So overall, I think things are changing. For Ayana, I think I'm not very worried. If I look at my mother, or if I look at both my sisters, or even if I look at Anushri, my wife, they all are doing tremendous work. Whether it in the corporate social responsibility realm, which my mother and my one of my sisters is involved with. My other sister started her own real estate firm, and she's very much into design, and she's doing really wonderful projects right now. And Anushri started a microfinance company, which is doing very well as well. So I think I'm not so worried about Ayana. I think she'll have a lot of opportunities, and yeah, she'll. I just want her to explore herself and explore what she likes doing, and do exactly what she wants. There's no pressure on her. It would be great if she wants to join me in business. I would love that. But if she doesn't, if she wants to do her own thing, I'm sure she'll figure it out.
But as parents, or as you become a parent now, do you have like concern about stuff that I don't know what goes through parents' minds, but do you all have like concern about is my child studying enough? Is my child doing this the correct way? Do you all have that concern? And if so, how do you all like deal with those concerns?
I think it's a bit early. It's a bit early for me at least. She's only 2 years old right now, but I know how I grew up, and I know how I know how Anushri grew up. So I think as a parent, I have obviously learned a lot from my parents, and I've also learned a lot from seeing my sister's parent. And I think you one has to encourage you have to encourage your child to explore herself and explore everything that she wants to do, and you have to encourage them. At the end of the day, what the child ends up doing, how much they want to learn, how much they want to grow, it's really up to them. And I think it's similar to being a leader. You lead by example, and your child sees you every single day, and sees the way you conduct yourself. If you are rude to your staff or your team members, your child will become rude to her friends and her caretakers, etc. Right? So if you are a good leader, if you are a good person, your child will learn from you and see that you're a good leader, you're a good person. Everyone makes mistakes, and those mistakes have to be examples. Like I remember when one of the times, it's still fresh in my mind. I was playing a squash match. I was 12 years old, and I was playing in the nationals, under 13 nationals quarterfinals, and I lost the match 3-2 to another kid, and I broke my racket, and I refused to shake that other player's hand. And that was the only time in my life when my father slapped me. And I thought he slapped me because I lost, but he said he didn't slap me because I lost. He slapped me because I broke a racket and I refused to shake my opponent's hand. Right? So these are the things, as a parent, you need to see. You need to make sure that your child is learning the right things and is learning in the right way. What I'm most concerned about today is social media, and you know how 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 artificial social media really is. Because if you go on to Instagram or Facebook, no one is really posting sad stories, or no one is really posting sad things. It's only, oh, look where I am today, or look at the food I made today, or look at what I did today, or look how good I'm looking today, or look this and look at that. So I think that's a big issue, and one needs to guard against that going forward, because it's only going to accelerate, and it's only going to become more and more intense. So yeah, but yeah, I mean, I talk like I know a lot, but I'm a very, very new dad, so it's a long way to go.
But it'll be a good thing, I think. hopefully, I'm sure you'll do a good job because the way people talk about you, the way you talk to other people, you're doing a really great job at that. Because you have this ability to make other people feel nice about themselves. Like even when I talk to you, you have this ability that makes me feel nice about myself. So I think you'll do an excellent job as a dad.
Thank you. Thank you.
So, Parth, I'm really excited for the last section of the podcast, which is your favorite section also, which is the sports section. You've done so much for sports in India and you've grown it so much. You've also won the award from the President of India for Rashtriya Khel Protsahan Puraskar in 2018. So, I'm really excited for this section. So, I'll directly dive in, which is who are three athletes that inspire you? I'll tell you mine first, which is three people which I really look up to is Yuvraj Singh, first of all, because I really found it interesting that even though in the finals he knew he had cancer and he still played so well, fighting the whole battle and making India win. Second is Virat Kohli, because I think if you look at him, he's had this massive transformation after he became a captain. First, he used to be really angry, and now if you look at him, he's so much more patient on the field. He knows what he's doing. And the last one, which is Kobe Bryant from basketball. So actually, I didn't know much about Kobe before when he was alive. After he passed away, I saw a lot of his podcasts, and it was so interesting that he's doing so much more than just sports. His mind is into a business. His mind is into movies. He's trying to create films that make an impact. So that was really amazing. So now you can tell me yours if that's.
Yeah, absolutely. No, I think those are great choices. The three sports people who inspire me the most, who have inspired me the most. One is Saurav Ganguly. He according to me, single-handedly transformed the mindset of the Indian cricket team and the mindset of every Indian. Before Ganguly became captain, India used to get sledged left, right, and center by all the teams, whether it was England, Australia, South Africa, New Zealand, everybody. And the mindset was keep your head down, play the game, don't talk back, don't look back. I think the moment when India won the NatWest Series final at Lords, when Saurav Ganguly removed his shirt and he flung it around the balcony, that was a defining moment where every Indian realized that you can talk back, you can look the other player in the eyes, and we Indians are no less than any foreigner or any other country. So I think for me, the way in which Ganguly led, the way in which Ganguly developed the youngsters, whether you look at Harbhajan Singh, Yuvraj Singh, Virinder Sehwag, MS Dhoni, these players were all directly, Zahir Khan, they were all directly handpicked and groomed by Ganguly. So for me, he's someone who has truly inspired me, and is right up there. The other players, Cristiano Ronaldo. I think if I look at Cristiano Ronaldo's career, if I look at his fitness, if I look at his discipline, if I look at all the things that he has done in his life, what he stands for as a person, what he stands for as a brand, I think he's highly inspirational and is someone who even today at I think he's in his late 30s is continuing to be one of the greatest soccer football players in the world. So I think he's someone who truly inspires me as well. And then the third player is a difficult one, but I think the story of Mary Kom is very inspirational. The kind of background that Mary Kom has come from, what she has gone on to achieve in her life, the kind of adversity that she's had to face, the fact that she has become a mother and continues to box and continues to box and win world championships and Olympic medals is truly unbelievable. So these would be the three sports people who inspire me.
I think that's amazing. So I wanted to come to this last question. What is something you've been playing sports for years, and that's something which you've grown up and you really enjoy. So what is something that sports has taught you?
See, I like I said earlier in the interviews in the podcast as well. I think sports is just the most wonderful leveler. you can be the son of the richest man in the world, or you can be the daughter of the poorest man in the world. But when you're on that field, it just doesn't matter. It's all about your skill set, it's all about your hard work, it's all about your ability. And I think that's the most unbelievable quality of sport. It's that it's such a leveler. The other thing that sport has taught me is if you become overconfident in life, you will lose. And if you get too down when you lose, you will never win. So, sport teaches you to be humble. Sport teaches you to take the ups and downs both with a pinch of salt. And it teaches you to remain true to your process. If you wake up in the morning and you work out and you work hard at your sport and you practice your skill set, you will improve every single day. And sport gives you that ability to become better every day and to become a better person. It teaches you to become a leader. It teaches you to be with your teammates. So I think it's an incredible thing. I think sport actually in many ways is a mirror to life. And if you see life and you see sport, I think there are a lot of learning. So I always encourage people to play sport. It doesn't matter at what level, it doesn't matter which sport, but just play a sport. Play an individual sport, play a team sport, because both are equally important.
So I actually had a few questions planned, but I'll end it over here. Is that fine if I end it now? Because I had a lot of questions, but it'll take a lot of time. So I'll end it. Is it fine?
Yeah, sure.
So I'll just say the last lines.
Okay.
Is that okay? So Parth, thank you so much for being a part of this podcast. I had an absolutely great time. I really look forward to hosting you again soon. And do you have any last advice for the audience that is watching this?
No, I would just say that enjoy whatever you're doing. Do it with a lot of passion. Do it with a lot of positivity, and constantly keep striving to become better in what you do. But don't take too much pressure on yourself. Keep enjoying the process. The main thing is, if you want to be successful, is you have to love what you do, and you must try and find something that you're passionate about, that you wake up in the morning and you feel good about. So if you wake up in the morning and you dread what you're doing, then you're not doing the right thing. So work hard, but work smart and enjoy yourself.
Thank you so much for being a part. It was really amazing having you.